Hello and welcome back to a Survivor's Guide to This War of Mine, where we are going step by step through a playthrough of this War of Mine in order to teach you everything you could possibly need to know. Last time we did a particularly large location just to give you the idea of how to get through it and to make sure you keep an eye on the time. We also went over beds and how these work, and we also went over the cooker, initially building it, and kind of that sort of thing. We also looked at conditions such as hunger, such as sleep, such as all of these things. And today we are able to immediately, thankfully, look at raids. So sometimes in the night, people will come and raid your property. This means that they've come and trying to steal from you. Hopefully, if you've put somebody on guard, they're able to kind of fight back and the person will not steal anything. However, at certain periods, it may become that these raids are more intense, especially as time goes on, they become more and more intense. And therefore things may be even able to be stolen when you do have somebody on guard. So you'll get a message like this in the morning if you have been raided, and at the time you'll say here, someone tried to rob us, they must be more scared than us, so they didn't do much harm, too bad we had no weapons. Catcher was wounded, but the attackers didn't steal anything, we should put more people on guard. Pavel has been searching for supplies and brought some interesting things back, that is the materials we got last night, and we can continue from this point on. So now she is slightly wounded, we can have a look through everybody, and we can start to see what we need to do. So, Bruno is a good cook, and we now need to start thinking about cooking, because they've been hungry for 2 days, so we're going to start. The first thing we want to do is we want to make sure we get enough fuel in order to make it. So we only need one per thing, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Very quickly, it's worth showing actually, if I do this and show Pavel, if you were to go here and to go and look at this, this takes 2 fuel and 5 water. Whereas with Bruno, it doesn't. It takes 3, and it takes 1. So therefore, this is why you need to be paying attention to what your people are good at. Because therefore they are able to actually get around and do quite a bit of stuff. So Katja is slightly wounded in this situation. Often the slightly conditions, even though Bruno is still slightly sick, do go away on their own. And that is something that is worth being mindful of. However, if they start to get worse, then they can be harder to get rid of. So now we have done that, we've made the fuel. We can now see that this is now white, so we can make it. We're going to make 3 of those, and we can then make. So now Bruno will start working there and be able to do a few things. The other thing that we need to start thinking about, and it's very important, is this. So water is one of those things that you can obviously get from scavenging locations, but that's not going to be the only way that you can get it, pretty much. Therefore, it is worth building one of these, a rainwater collector. So if I was to put a rainwater collector and just place it at the bottom of the stairs here. So for all of these, you may have been, I may have jumped over this when I first placed a few things. You just kind of drag it to where you want it to be put, and then as soon as it's allowed, some places it won't be, like I can't put it in the stairs. But if I put it there, and then you just click paste, you can just then go and build, which is very, very nice. And then we'll show you how that works very, very soon. We're about to have food up and running, which is very good. Once that's been done, good. So Bruno, you can now eat. So what happens with the oven is that this food appears on top of the oven, so you can't actually cook anymore when there's food there, and it gives you the opportunity to go and eat there. So now Pavel, you can also go and do the same. You can go and eat, and then I'm actually going to send Pavel to bed again so that we can go out and scavenge. While this is going on, Katja has just finished building this water collector. So if we look in here, you can see that we can get 4 water for 1 filter. And unfortunately you can see it says 0.5 hours plus 5 hours. So what this is it takes 0.5 hours to set up, and then it takes 5 hours for the water to actually be collected. So first things first is I do need to get myself one of these, a filter. So let's quickly make this. Meanwhile, Bruno, you can kind of just chill on that chair. And then we are able to see how this is all done. However, we have just got an arrival at the door. So Katja, I'm going to get you to look at that. Because this man, who comes very, very frequently, this man is the trader. He comes to the door, knocks on it, and asks if you have anything to trade. So we'll go and do that straight away. But before we do that, I will quickly just show what is going on down here. We'll finish this off, set this up, and then we can kind of keep moving. So you'll see now that we've got the one of these, we can make this, and he starts to go and do that. In order to greet the trader, all you have to do is open the front door, and he says, let's make a deal. And then you have 2 choices. This X will send him away, but this kind of moving goods back and forth button is how you do trade. So if I look in here, you'll be able to see all of our things, which is very, very good, and you'll see all of their things. This isn't the only trader in the game. There are also traders in some locations that you can go to. However, when you go to those locations, obviously you can only carry the things that are in your backpack, and therefore trading out and about may be more difficult. The important thing to remember is that this guy can bring a lot of good stuff to your door that you actually don't think about otherwise. So I'm going to focus on trying to get some of the components and things that he needs to kind of work, like the components and things that we can get from them, which is very, very good. So if I'm able to think about this, I've got some bandages, I've got some meds. These are things that are really, really worth a lot to the trader and to other characters. However, if I was to say, oh, I've got these herbs, they say it's very common stuff, not very interesting. So all of the stuff that you can see, it tells you kind of by the level of what you need. So for here it says interesting, want to exchange, whereas this says exactly what I need. So therefore this is good, but it's not as good as this. Similar with this says nothing special but not bad either. It's because it's the lowest form of food and it's just kind of there. This same thing, lockpicks, they're kind of useful, but they're not super useful. And then the same things with most of the parts, like this. However, very common stuff goes for the wood, and for the components, and for the water, stuff that you can get a lot of. Diamonds are classified as interesting, want to exchange, which is quite good. And then you've also got these which are not special, but not bad either, which is slightly better than the very common. So they are quite useful. And the books are also very common. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look through his stuff and see that he has a lot of components and a lot of wood. And I'm going to use this opportunity to then trade, give him something like this, because we only have someone who's slightly sick, and we don't need to worry too much, and ask in return for all of this. And you'll see that we get different things in the middle depending on what we're doing. So this says, the offer of yours is just too damn impressive because I'm offering medicine for 4. At any point that this is an acceptable offer, I can click deal. So I could just give him all my stuff, really. However, if I'm able to then spam, so I can then right click on this and it gives me 10 of the version, it then moves to, it's very generous of you, and if I do fill that up, because this is so valuable, even a full inventory of this is just not enough. So I can now remove some of these, right clicking again, and I can choose maybe something that's a little bit more valuable. So in returns of this, if I was to go 1, 2, 3, I could pick that up because these are worth 3 components each. So therefore we have a bit more usefulness. If I then start to pick up some water, because then I'm actually getting as much as we've done, we then get to find we can have a deal. Now find we can have a deal is a great one, because it means that you have just offered the right amount, because otherwise it will say it won't do, try harder. Therefore we can kind of jump to this situation where we can work out exactly the right number that we will be able to get for what we want. However, if I was to do something obscene and ask for all that plus this, we get this, you've got to be kidding, show me some more. Therefore, it's kind of a good balancing system to try and work out what you need. I'm picking up quite a few good components and stuff. I can't seem to fit any more in, so I'm just going to deal on that, which is good. But that doesn't need to be the end of it. I can just go back and I can try and trade again. And we can just keep trading until we want to finish off. So I'm going to try and do the same thing here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab as much of this as we can. It's very generous of me, I know. And I think some of this, and maybe if I grab that, fine, we can have a deal. This is what it says. I'm a little bit concerned about that because I feel like there could be more stuff that I can get. So I'm going to drop that and have a look at maybe some of this. So that says it won't do, try harder. So therefore I think that this is kind of a good level of stuff, and I'm picking up a lot of useful items to be able to do quite a few things. So if I now deal on that, which is good, we can start to think about our things, and we've got a lot more. So now the important thing to look at is to go along to our building benches and to go like, okay, so what can I build? I could actually build everything here. I've got enough materials for all of this. I could build a moonshine still, I could build a crude stove. I could even build the moonshine still. In fact, I think I may build the moonshine still just to show off this functionality to you guys. So if I quickly go and build the moonshine still, we can put it over here in the corner. We're going to quickly place that over there and we'll start to talk about it. Once you are done with this guy, you can just send him away. There is absolutely no damage to saying that he has to stay here. If you just walk away and leave him standing there, he will stay there. But it is just, I don't know, there's an element of my own subconscious that likes sending him away as a kind of, it is finished kind of vibes. So I need to remember, and even when you're busy with other things, this is a good reminder. Make sure that all of your characters eat every other day. Otherwise, they will drop down from hungry to very hungry, and then you have to feed them twice to get them back up to this level here. So there is many kind of different issues that you can deal with. So we've just finished this Moonshine still. So if I was to go over here and click on it now, you can see, oh, okay, we need 3, 3, and 1. And it's also worth paying attention to the fact that I believe this may also work as in Bruno is better at making alcohol than anyone else. For example, if I sent Catcher here, it's 4, 4, and 1. So we're able to make a lot more Moonshine with Bruno than we are with anyone else. So quickly, I'm going to have a look here and be like, okay, what do we need? We need some fuel. So if I quickly make a few fuel, while Catcher runs around and picks up as much sugar as she can from these locations. And then this will be the plan overall. Good. So it looks as if, grab that, it looks as if we do have someone who is going to be awake now. So Pavel, you can join in the gathering of sugar. It's worth paying attention that all of your people are kind of active in the day, because you only have a limited amount of time and you can get in a bit of a sticky situation. Which is very nice. Good. We're going to grab some more sugar. That's good. How much fuel did we make? We've got 4 fuel, so we should be in a situation now where we are able to make some of this. So if I quickly check this and grab that, that's a 9. So we should be able to make 3, I believe, based on the recipe. So if we do this, we can do 1, 2, 3. Now, this is an interesting one. Notice how long didn't change. For a lot of workbenches, it does change. And therefore, you have to be a bit wary of timings. However, for this, it takes 0.5 to set it up regardless, and 4 hours for it to brew, no matter how much you use. So I'm quickly just going to do that, and we're going to make that. So you can see the orange bar goes around and proves that that's kind of what we're doing. And then you're slightly wounded, you are fine, and then I'm going to send you to bed, even though you're probably not going to be able to... Actually, I should probably let you sleep tonight. So yes. But now we're going to look at what else we can build. So I've now shown off in this first workbench. We've shown off the crude stove, we've shown off the Moonshine still, the metal workshop, and the rainwater collector. We've done the filters, we've done fuel, we've done beds. We can see that there is a chair that already exists. We are now wanting to look at the simple heater and the radio. I will quickly show off the radio today, actually, before we move on. If I quickly go over here and look here, I'll place it by the bed, and it's a small little event that is slightly different to most other items in the game, which makes it quite interesting. Let's quickly gather up most of the rest of the sugar, because there's no reason for us not to now. Now that we've got the Moonshine still up and running, we can kind of do it. I was just doing this to show you that you can leave a lot of the stuff behind, which is very good. Nice. Very good. Good. We're just grabbing all of this sugar that we have left around, which is good. And soon this is going to be built. So now you get this little radio antenna signal that you can then click on. And we can then tune the radio to listen to everything. You are listening to Radio Pogorin. Pogorin is the location this is all set in. We regret to announce that our colleague Hovan died this morning. He was shot by a sniper on his way to work. He will be missed. So you get quite a few sad songs like this. And you can see, as I move this around, you end up with this flashing thing. And it doesn't quite work if you don't have it fully fit. But I can find that there is one here. And we can find some classical masterpieces playing. If I keep spinning it, we can go to here. And this is the weather forecast. The upcoming days should still be nice and warm. Perfect for a stroll in the park. Perfect. If I have a look here, that's still it. If we keep moving, you can see there's not much over here. So if I then go the other direction, you can see at the top if it can keep going or not. We can do here. Ooh, despite desperate counterattacks by the rebels trying to lift the siege of Pogorin, the city remains cut off. Government forces do not allow any aid to reach the city, claiming it would end up in rebel hands. We can keep going, and I think there's one more, which is just some nice regular music. Good. And so this is able to do quite a few things. Yeah. Nice. Catcher, you can just finish off grabbing these little bits and pieces. Good. And then we'll be able to use this to our advantage. Nice. And actually, in a weird way, I may send out Catcher to trade tonight. If I send it out with her abilities to trade, I can show off kind of a better, what she is used for. So we're going to end the day there. That's almost done. If I have a look here and have a look around these locations, every day you see, you get some new locations. This normally comes in from when you are at visiting new kind of, what's the word? As soon as you visit a new location, new locations will appear. So for example, if I was to visit somewhere new, then some new places may appear. If I was to go back to either the shelter school or the ghost house, then we could end up in a situation without too many people, without too many locations appearing. However, we are going to have a look at the ruined villa, and I'm going to send out Catcher. As you can see, Catcher also has 12, but Bruno has only got 10, so therefore Bruno's not a very good scavenger to send out and to look at things. Therefore, we are going to focus on this situation. He can sleep in the bed, and I'm going to leave Pavel to then guard. We're going to go into here, and we are going to take with us, obviously we're going to take the crowbar and the lock and the shovel, and I'm going to take some of these diamonds as a method for trading. And we're going to scavenge, because it did mention in the talking here that there may be a chance to trade with them, so we might as well go and have a look. And then we have a look here, it says it can be very dangerous, deserters are not disciplined soldiers. Often at the start of these locations you'll find that people are a bit more, they give you a little bit of information about what to expect from these locations. So if I quickly go over here and have a look through, good, we can just keep moving and we can start to see what's going on. So as you can see here, I'm looking through these keyholes a bit more thoroughly now, to be a bit more focused and a bit more thorough. If I was to do this and do this, you can see that they run away. Now, this is the thing you need to be careful about, because people like this could cause problems. So I'm going to move down here, and we can see now that there is some issues going along here, and someone is running here, along the back here. I'm going to pick up as much resources as I can here, which is good, and then we can have a look here. If I was to look through here, you can see that there has been some footsteps above. Now, it seems as if these people are particularly violent, so caution, and the fact that there was no caution or no danger means that it's not always necessarily the safest. So with this, they've all gone up there, and they've kind of now synced above. So you've got to be aware that people are very, very, there are definitely ways of dealing with this. So this is a difficult situation that you'll find that people have their set routines. So these guys are very anxious and very walking around. However, I've managed to sneak down below, and these guys are going to run off, and you can kind of see where they're moving through the doors. Now, this turns out that this is actually a situation where it's quite dangerous. Catcher is not necessarily a good fighter. Normally you can work out who is the good fighters by people who have the abilities that are like trained in combat and things like that. So I'm going to specifically send Catcher away from this location. Having already gathered a good chunk of stuff today, we're going to close the door and we're going to leave. Therefore, this is the sort of thing you want to do. You want to be careful. Often, you can get an indication from someone immediately whether or not they're going to attack you. For today, as soon as she ran off and seemed genuinely kind of worried, then I was a bit more willing to be like, therefore I should try and be sneaky, I should hide, I should move downstairs, and people will run to where you were found, and then people will go back to their routines, and that's kind of what we were expecting there. They came here, I came here and was seen here. She ran off, so I decided to go somewhere new, and then we headed back over here. As you can see, if someone comes forward here, someone went here, it's possible that they've gone down and gone up and all this sort of stuff. There are very many different routines that we can do. However, we are going to leave it here for today. I hope this has been a bit more informative about how to deal with a more dangerous location. I will see you in next video, where we will go through a bit more detail how to do maybe a few upgrades is what we're going to look at next time. Ta-ra!